And the first
Jenny, are
question
you doing video conferencing?
Yes.
Okay, a call to order. It's Jared, and I would like to just ask Jenny if we're going to have any visitors or guests in the audience.
Sure. Jared, do you want me to go over the digital meeting procedures?
Sure.
Okay, so as you know, we are meeting remotely and by phone. So just ask that if you're not speaking to stay on mute, and when you speak to say your name, because not everyone can see you. And also we've started recording the meeting, so keep that in mind, and the meeting recording will be posted online. And for those of you who don't have images that you're looking at, we have 7 members of the State Review Board with us this morning. So we have Phil Barlow, Jared Edwards, Ken Feder, John Herzan, Mark McMillan, CC Saunders, and Chris Wiegren. There's several members of SHPO staff online, and we have Jordan Sorensen and Renee Tribert from Preservation Connecticut, who are consultants for the Ward House nomination. And is Peter Segala joining us?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you are here. So we also have the owner for the Ward House nomination, whose name is Peter Segala, and you're on by phone, right?
Well, I can be on by video. I'm on the video Microsoft Teams.
Yes. It's up to you. You can be on Teams or by phone, whichever way works.
I can do. Okay, I can do. Or do you see me on Teams?
I don't. There are several phone numbers I see. I don't see
718-809-0859.
Yes. Yes, I see your phone number on the screen.
Okay, so I'll disconnect from the phone and go on video. Is that?
You can.
Okay.
Do you need help with that?
Actually, you know what? I'm just going to stay on the phone. The audio will be better by phone.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jared.
So, are there any additional members of the audience? Jenny?
No, just several SHPO staff.
Okay. I'm going to skip the public comment procedures because we have no guests other than those who have been identified. And the first order of business is approval of the March 26th meeting minutes, and I need a motion.
So moved. Fifi.
I'll second.
We need a second?
This is John Herzan. I'll second.
Okay. So we have now we can discuss the minutes as distributed. Any comments?
I thought they were incredibly thorough.
Yes, they're high standard. There's no question about that. Are there any recommended additions or any corrections that need to be identified? Well, hearing none, why don't we have a vote? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Jared, we have to do a roll call since
Oh,
we're
yeah,
not.
that's right. Sorry, you forgot to mention the roll call. All right,
Sorry.
Please, Jenny,
And,
proceed.
Dr. Bucky just joined us.
Yeah, I just joined. And what are we discussing? Which
We're
case
approving
are
the
we
minutes.
discussing? Oh, the minutes. I could not find a copy of my minutes at the last minute, so I have to abstain. hopefully I haven't said, nothing in the minutes about me was in
Okay,
inaccurate. So
proceed with
I'm
your roll
abstaining.
call, Jenny.
Okay. Phil,
Here.
is
Here.
that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Bucky's abstaining.
Abstaining.
Okay. Jared,
I approve them.
Ken,
Approve.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Cece,
Approve.
and Chris.
Aye.
Okay, that's it as far as we're concerned. Now let's move on to our action items. And the first and definitely a fine nomination is the Ward House. And we need to have a motion to review this nomination.
Yeah. Jared, I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion since the consultants are the organization I work for. So somebody can text me when you're ready for me to come back, or tell Renee and Jordan and they'll let me know.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I can text you.
Okay, so we need a motion, please.
So move,
moved.
Cece.
Second, John Hurst.
Okay, so we are now looking at the William and Mary Ward House in Middletown. And we need information, Jenny, staff recommendations.
Yes.
Yeah.
So staff recommends this property for listing at the local level under criterion A and C.
Mm.
Someone having a problem?
Nope.
Okay, sorry about that. This is a cube-shaped two-story modern house built in 1964 and designed by John Martin with in a collaborative manner with the owner, William Ward. Both of them were faculty at Wesleyan in theater design and creative arts. This is proposed for listing under the existing mid-century modern residences in Connecticut multiple property context, which was accepted by the National Park Service in 2010, along with a number of case studies from New Canaan. So this is the first individual nomination that we are seeing under that context since that project. So if you have any questions about how that works, please ask. And in terms of criterion A and C, it fits into themes identified in that context in terms of the social and intellectual networking that several proponents of modernism were engaged in. And of course, it fits criterion C under architecture. And that multiple property nomination has a section where a variety of property types are described. And so each nomination listed under that multiple property document fits into one of the described property types. And this one is called a geometric property type. So if you're wondering where that name came from, that comes from the overarching context. The owner, who is online with us this morning by phone, initiated the nomination. I did a site visit back in fall of 2019. Notice of this meeting was sent to the owner, the City of Middletown, and the Middlesex County Historical Society 30 days before the meeting, and the nomination was posted on our website during the noticing period. I did not receive any letters in response, and Middletown is not a CLG. And I'll just remind you that Renee and Jordan are here to answer questions, as well as Peter, who is the property owner.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And just to repeat that the criteria are A and C, would Peter like to comment? It's not required, but if you would like to say a few words since you initiated the nomination?
Well, I initiated it because I recognized as a design professional, when I first saw the property, that it seemed to me to be derivative of the Charles and Ray Eames Case Study 8 house in Pacific Palisades, California. It seemed to have the same overall dimensions. It has a double height living room, dining area, which matches the dimensions of the Case Study 8 house. There were several other elements of it, including the coloration of the exterior that seemed to me to be derivative of that. And so I contacted the Preservation Connecticut and Renee and Jordan and Chris and Jenny were all very supportive, and I must say I'm really appreciative of their work. I think I'm delighted that this house is being considered. I just think it's important to protect and to leave it better off than how I found it. So thank you all.
Well, thank you, Peter. That was very kind of you. Much appreciated. Now, we can turn to the members of the review board to comment. So please feel free to. Yep.
Well, this is Cecilia, as one of the relatively few new people, so to speak, and a social historian as opposed to architecture. My big question, I think, was answered because it's local. I wasn't sure what national significance it might have, but that's not what the criteria that it's being listed under. It's
That's
local.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, got it.
Other review board comments? This is John Herzan. I just wanted to say how pleased I am that we're scouring the state for other examples of mid-century modern domestic architecture that may have been sleepers, and that we all know about New Canaan, and we all know there are pockets of modernism at well-known communities, but I find these outliers really exciting. That they enhance the significance of the theme and show that interest in that period was more widespread than we think it was. And I hope we can be receptive to other examples like this in the future for that reason.
Thank you, John. I would like to just comment, it's Jared. I came to know the architect, John Martin, when Wesleyan created an advisory group. They called it the Wesleyan Landmarks Advisory Council, and I was asked to join that group that included Henry Russell Hitchcock, Bill Geordie, Richard Dietrich. It was obviously a project that Nancy Campbell, the wife of the president of Wesleyan, was very much in favor of. And John Martin was a member of that group. It was founded about 1975, and it met for more than 5 years and basically influenced Wesleyan's reinvestment in many of their historic buildings. As you know, on High Street, there are on both sides of the street. And so in a way, that was how I met John Martin and realized he had a very significant local practice in Middletown. So personally, I'm very pleased to see what his architecture looked like, and this is a great example. I just want to make one comment, Jenny, in that excellent, I'd forgotten about the context document that you also included with the nomination. And in reading it, I realized that you list in it many examples. And I'm wondering, has anybody double-checked that context to see which properties have and which properties haven't been listed or nominated in the past?
Not recently, not since that project occurred, which is, more than a decade now.
Yeah, but because I remember that Lascaz designed house out in New Hartford, which I gather has been restored. It was a wreck when it was identified, but I don't know whether that became a nominated property, for example.
Jared, I can answer that question because I was in Jenny's shoes when it was listed.
Well, there you are.
When I first joined the staff in 1978, I think in the following year, the Lascaz house was written up by the owner. I don't know if you remember Judith Payne, but she kind of cultivated that study, and it is designated on the National Register.
Well, the other one that occurred to me that hasn't been listed is the
Excuse me, it was called Sun Terrace.
Sun Terrace. Yes, that was what the Field family, Freddie Field, called it. The builder. I mean, the first owner.
Yeah.
Bob?
A building that occurs to me that ought to be looked at is the 19th century house on High Street in New Haven that Paul Rudolph bought in 1954 when he moved to New Haven and renovated the house with his office on the top floor, and then put a very significant addition on the back, which was his residence. And I think that building is now owned by a fraternity at Yale, but I bet that the architecture is still there, probably unchanged since the mid-50s.
That may be part of a National Register district, Jared.
It is possible. Okay, sorry about that.
No.
Any other comments from the review board on the nomination of the William and Mary Ward house?
Yeah, this is Mark McMillan. I had a
Yes,
comment and a
Mark.
question. I very much enjoyed reading the nomination. I thought it was quite good. I wondered if there were any interior floor plans, because when you have this modular modern design ethic, the question I was left with was, does that carry over into the interior spaces, the size of the rooms, or how they relate to one another? I certainly support this at a local level as having significant, but I think that could take it one step further of looking at how the interior and the exterior relate to one another in terms of that 4x8 modular floor.
Hi, this is Renee. In doing our research, we were actually in touch with the one of the daughters of William and Mary Ward, and we did have some conversation about architectural drawings and plans, but she thought that they had actually all been thrown out. So we didn't actually find any.
Did you ever check with Middletown to see if something would have been on file? I don't know how far back their permit records might go.
I believe, I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly, but this was COVID. I wasn't able to get actual appointments, but I do believe that I reached out to the Middletown building department. I can check my records if you'd like on that. Okay.
Renee, is there any information on Martin's career at Wesleyan since he was on the faculty? Do they have an archive there that they might have?
We did spend quite a bit. We were actually able to get into the Wesleyan archives, spent a goodly amount of time there. And then the pandemic hit, so we had some follow-up things, but we were never able to get back in again. So some of our information does in fact come from the Wesleyan Archives of the Olin Library.
Okay, does that, are there further questions or comments from members of the review board? For Jordan and Renee particularly? If not, are we ready for a vote? Okay, so I'm going to ask to have each person do a, Jenny's going to do a roll call. That's how it works. Jenny, it's all yours.
Okay. Phil,
Yes.
Cecilia,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Cece,
Yes.
and Chris is out of the room, so that's everyone.
Excellent. So it's unanimous, and congratulations to Peter for having this nomination prepared. I hope
Thank
you're
you so
pleased.
much. Yes, I
And
am. I
thank
am
you.
very pleased.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Now let's continue. And at this point, Jenny, do you want to introduce the Strong House in East Hampton?
Yes, let's just give Chris a minute to come. Oh, you're back. Okay. Yeah. There you are. I was just letting Chris come back into the virtual room here. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, so moving on to agenda item B1, which is the Charles Strong House at 157 Main Street in the Belltown Historic District in East Hampton. So as you know, we review the current National Register status of properties that are proposed or in discussion for potential demolition. And the board is asked to reevaluate whether or not those properties still have the characteristics that qualify them for listing. So I don't believe we have any representative of the owner online for this property this morning. They were noticed of this meeting according to our policy statement that we accepted in December and posted online. And of course, all meeting materials related to this item are on our website. And Marina Wisniewski from SHPO staff is here this morning to present this item.
Okay.
Good morning,
Proceed.
everyone. So you are being asked to review the opinion of eligibility for 157 Main Street, East Hampton, which is a contributing resource to the Belltown National Register Historic District, listed on October 28th, 1985. It is identified in section 7, page 14, as the Charles A. Strong House, Italianate, 1858. I do want to note that there are two structures located on the same parcel, but only 157 Main Street is the structure under question. The district is significant for its architecture, exhibiting a full range of historic resources which illustrate in their diversity of scale, function, and level of architectural style the social and economic development of the town, and includes well-preserved examples of Second Empire, Italianate, Colonial Revival, and especially the Greek Revival. The Italianate examples in this district are much fewer than the other styles. The district is also significant under criterion A in the category of industry, as the only mill town in the nation known to be exclusively devoted to bell making, a highly specialized industry which prospered for over 100 years. Based on the photos and maps that you have, 157 Main Street is a brick masonry structure that has a flat, currently rolled composite roof. The interior is currently divided up into 3 units. And there's been a lot of alterations, including presumably a removal of a central stair. But this is a district, so we're looking at how it contributes to the district. As far as news about, although again, this is not, I don't know who that is, but perhaps we could mute somebody.
Yeah.
There we go. So even though current events are not part of your evaluation or opinion of eligibility, the house was proposed for demolition for a new development that's adjacent to the site and would need the land to complete their development. But at the town level, that has been in a protracted conversation. And as far as I know, the most recent meeting, which was the first Wednesday in June, the proposal for the zoning amendment to allow for the demolition to proceed in order to create this development was denied. And so they are working on it. And as far as we know, the representative for the owner, they are going back to the drawing board, working on a couple of alternatives. One may keep the building, one may not keep the building. But they do not expect to have a response until much later in 2021.
Okay, so Jenny, do we proceed with our review?
Jenny, can
Yeah,
I just
I think you can still review whether or not it appears eligible or continues to contribute. And
Okay,
Mark, I'm just gonna, Mark, are you staying on or are you leaving the room for this one?
No, I need to disclose that I've been involved at the local level as a resident of East Hampton, and I therefore would like to recuse myself from this discussion. It's not this way yet.
Thank you, Mark.
Could I just interject and ask that for procedural reasons, if my sense of recusing is that you don't vote on something, but what if we had a question to ask that Mark could answer?
I'd be happy to stay on and answer the questions I can and not vote. I don't know how that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what procedures are. Yeah, just asking.
Okay. I think he's declared his involvement, and I don't think, Mark, you're sitting on any town review board or commission specifically. Do you feel that you would transgress if you remained on the line to listen to the discussion?
No, I don't, Jared. I don't have any interest.
Okay. Then I invite you to stay if that's appropriate. And it seems to me that it is. So shall we initiate the review? Does anybody on the review board wish to start a discussion about this property? Oh, I beg your pardon. We have to have a motion.
I was going to say, this is Chris. I'll move that we affirm that the house still contributes to the significance of the district.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And who is I?
John Herzan, but if someone else would like to second it, that's fine.
Well, I guess I will.
Cecilia.
Cecilia.
Oh, that's Cecilia.
Sorry.
Okay, Cecilia. Thank you very much. Okay. Discussion. Who would like to comment?
This is Cece. I'm looking at the all the staircases and so many of the doors punched in and so forth, and it really looks very compromised. I understand that we're looking at not the structure, but how it is incorporated and lends itself to the whole manufacturing of Bell's history and as a ensemble. But at what point particularly that rear L. I mean, at what point does it become so compromised? Can someone on the staff tell me? I mean, how do you assess?
Well, this is Jared. If you want me to toss
Yes,
out an idea,
please. Yes.
I look at those photographs, and it doesn't appear to me that the rear element of the design is an addition at all. I think it's some in substance of a cross shape, which is very Italianate, a balanced geometric form, which speaks, I think, to the end of the Greek revival. And you think of A.J. Davis house on Hill House Avenue, like the Trowbridge house. That's the shape of the house. And in Belltown, here is this simple, very simple version, cross-shaped. Openings that have been, doors have been replaced, and central stair obviously has been removed, and an exterior stair was put up. But, if somebody was interested in restoring the house, they'd tear down those stairs in a minute, and they would replace the doors with more appropriate entrance doors, et cetera, et cetera. So I think everything is there, and it speaks very, I think, highly of a well-designed Italianate small house.
Jared, this is Marina. I'll also add to that as far as alterations for doors that were added, it does appear that doors were added within existing window openings. So, they were kind of extended and lowered in order to accommodate it. It looks like the fenestration.
And no new punches. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like the fenestration pattern still remains, but where they needed to add doors, they took the path of least resistance and used rough openings. And actually, there is one window where they had a sill where the door was, and they took it and they used it, as a door threshold. Well, it was good stone, so who'd waste it?
Right.
Well, again, I think excuse me for interrupting, but I don't think we need to get into the details of what, quite to the extent that the comments are addressing. It seems, is this a good example of the Italianate that deserves to continue to be part of the Belltown Historic District? That's sort of my take on it. But
okay, that's fine. I just was wondering. Thank you.
Could
this
I?
This is John Herzan.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, as the least architecturally tutored of you all, let me. I could not find the houses next to it in any of the photographs, but a few doors down there is a much more elegant house, and it just struck me that this is an example of worker housing, and it should stay part of the district and not be destroyed just because it is common. It might be the only one left. I don't know, because I couldn't go through all the photographs. Not all the photographs are there, I don't think. But on that basis alone, it seems to me that this does, even though it's at the far end of the district, it does represent a part of the totality.
This is Chris. I'm not sure that it's really worker housing. This is a period when
you don't think so?
No, this is a period when just looking at the size of it, and it was apparently historically a single family house.
Originally it was single family. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch
just
that.
The brick construction, and it's a period when the aesthetic is very sort of stripped down.
Yeah.
And there probably would have been some sort of porches with a bit of ornament or some bracket work or whatever, but it's a very geometric kind of design, which makes it look very simple. And then when you add on all the crummy stuff that's been added onto it.
Oh, I see. So is transformed into multifamily now,
Yes,
more
exactly.
recently. Okay.
And
Well,
Chris, I can add to that. It
Yeah.
was, as you say, a single family house, and about 6 houses south of this at 140-ish Main
Yeah.
Street is a very, very similar brick Italian oak house. Anecdotally, the owners of that house said that both houses were built by brothers, similar style, and both currently listed as contributing elements. The difference being that the owners of that house bought it several years ago and with a lot of restriction work.
This
Oh,
is John
okay.
Herzan. I have a question for Marina. Do you know if the house, the renovations to the house, the conversion had occurred at the time of the designation? I don't know if this was a photographed resource
No, unfortunately, it wasn't a photograph resource when it was listed. But based on some of the interior alterations, it appeared that existed. There's some, interior finishes within the different units that indicate they were probably made prior to 1985. So that would be an
Great.
indicator that, those exterior stairs and entries were probably made. They look late 1970s, early 80s. But the only way we'd be able to confirm that would be to grab a building permit from the town if it existed.
I think one way of thinking about this building in terms of whether it contributes or not to the district is, would it be missed if it's torn down? And I personally, for one, think it would be greatly missed. I think its Italianate form and much of its fabric are still intact. The renovations that have been made, while they're unfortunate, they've actually preserved the longevity of the building and could be reversed. So to me, this is a no-brainer. It still contributes to the district.
Hear, hear, John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Any other comments from the review board? Do you wish to proceed with a vote? Let's do that then. Jenny, do you want to proceed with the roll call?
Sure. Phil?
And Jenny, what exactly are we voting on?
So the motion was that the building still contributes to the Belltown Historic District. So you're voting yes or no to that.
All right, yes.
Cecilia?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And Mark is abstaining, right? Okay.
Yes.
Cece?
Yes.
And Chris?
Yes.
There we have it. Thank you, everybody. Now,
Thank you.
Jenny, do you want to touch on discussion items or new business or staff report?
Sure. Should I ask if any other board members have discussion items first?
Well, maybe if I may, very briefly, I hope you all will have heard this by now, but Frederick Law Olmsted's 200th birthday is coming up next year, and Jenny conceived and SHPO gave Preservation Connecticut a very large grant to do a big documentation project around Frederick Law Olmsted and the Olmsted firm in Connecticut. We've got a consultant team led by Red Bridge Group. They're based in San Francisco, but have an East Coast office as well. And prominent landscape architects. And they'll be creating a context report about Connecticut, specifically focused on Connecticut connections with Frederick Law Olmsted and the Olmsted firm, and a survey of, we hope, about 150 sites around the state, landscapes and other associated locations. So we're really excited about that. We're very honored to have gotten this grant from the State Historic Preservation Office, and we will keep you all informed as things progress.
Sounds good. Any other items that review board members want to bring up in discussion? If not, let's turn to new business. Jenny?
Okay, well, I'll just go to staff report.
Okay.
I just wanted to share that there was a National Historic Landmark meeting planned for June, but it was postponed again. And we are waiting to see the Barnum Museum be heard on that agenda. So it's up next whenever there is a next meeting. And I'll just share that as you've seen in governor's press releases, we are being asked to come back into the office in July. So staff is working through sort of a part-time in the office, part-time telecommute schedule. And once we get back, I can explore the idea of in-person meetings, if that is something that the board would like to do. I don't know anything about the availability of spaces or how that works in the building yet, but I think once we get back in, we'll learn more about that.
Okay. This is Jared. I think that our meetings are very important to convene in a conference room and follow pretty much the pattern that has been followed for the last 60 years. And I think it's very important for the members of the board to assemble and deal with our business in-person meetings. So I would encourage you to try to convene our September meeting under your roof again, if that's possible. So I'm just expressing my own opinion.
Okay. I will let you know as I find out more, and the bylaws that we just accepted last year give us some flexibility. So we've named that we need to have 3 meetings, preferably 4. But we could do them either way.
Excellent. Other comments from the review board about the meetings? Do you want to have all in-person meetings, or some variant that includes remote meetings like this?
Jared, this is Mark. I prefer to meet in person, but I think there is some value in terms of public outreach if people from the public or even some of our own board members have the ability to call in. So I guess I'm saying maybe a hybrid model once we get once we're able to meet in person again, it may be beneficial.
So, but what you're saying is that conceivably, if we meet in person, we could also have a telephone attendance, as it were, for guests and or absent review board members.
Yes.
This is
Sounds
Jenny.
good.
I'm told that we can do Teams in the conference rooms, but the first try at that might be an experiment.
Oh. Yeah, Cecilia, I just wanted to lend my voice to the possibility of hybrid meetings. I see
Right.
the value of gathering in person, and Lord knows, after a year of Zooming, I really do want to see people, but sometimes it's just not possible to get to Hartford by 9:30.
I think hybrid meetings make a lot of sense. This is really only recommendations coming from us, and Jenny, it's up to you to arrange whatever you feel is appropriate. So.
Yeah, I think we'd have to see how it works. I have friends who are teachers and find the hybrid part in class and part online teaching to be very difficult, but maybe that's a matter of practice and experimentation. And, to be honest, the building that the office is in is not the most visitor-friendly location to have public meetings.
Yes, you are
On the other
assumed to be a
hand, yeah,
criminal.
on the other hand, I certainly miss being in one room with you all.
Excellent.
Jenny, Ken Fader here. Have we ever been canceled as a result of weather?
I think we have, probably not since I've been here.
Right.
We tried to have a late November, early December meeting and then not another one till the end of March.
Right.
So our longest break is over the winter, but it is completely possible for it to snow in
Right.
December or March, or for there to be some kind of power outage or something in fall. It's totally possible.
But just rather than canceling the meeting, we can fall back on a digital meeting.
Very good recommendation. Yes.
As long as there's power, yes.
What's that? Because it
saying
never
that
snows in New England in March or November, right?
I'm sorry?
It never snows here in New England in
Oh.
March, right?
Yes, it
Oh,
does.
no.
Oh, damn. All right.
It does in November too. If you remember, an awful lot of trees were brought down because they were still leafed out, and the snow tore the trees down. So it happens. Well, let's leave Jenny to deal with it as best she can, and let us know what her recommendations are at the appropriate time. Is there other staff report items you wish?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Any further items that the board would like to bring up at this time? You want to designate what kind of donuts to have at the meeting? Is that?
There's the incentive.
Well, I'm just thinking of what the board might want to see on the table. Excellent. Well, if there's no further contributions of that sort, I would look for a motion to adjourn, and thank everybody, and have a happy summer.
Happy summer. Motion to.
I so move.
I will second.
And therefore we're adjourned.
All right. The motion that never fails.
Yes.
Good to see you all.
Take care.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.